Hello, everyone. We are here. Hello. HuMan and HammerHand. What's going on, guys?
Hello.
Hello.
Hola.
Hola? Is that right?
That's right. That's right. You'll make something about it?
Maybe later. Yes. Bastard.
That'll work.
Let me...
Well, what's going on, gentlemen? What are you thinking about?
I am going to call up the stream. Hold on.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I was playing with this ginger girl earlier. She's doing some rock and roll. I think I sent it to you, Hammer. It's probably crap, but so what? I don't care. All right. So we have HuMan here from Australia. How's it going, man?
Pretty well. I
Yeah?
think I've woken up. Yep. It's early morning here.
I was playing with this... So you've had your coffee and now you're fun. You're good.
Yeah, still having it. Still having it. Hope everyone's good. It's good to actually, I think this is the first time I've had a conversation with anyone in the scene in real time. I'm usually talking to myself and people are typing to me.
Really? How's that?
Yeah, so this is the first live one I've done this way.
God damn, that's groundbreaking.
Exactly, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's cool. I'm still not seeing you guys on the chat here, but, I'm fucked. I don't know. Go on, boys. First time chat, HuMan. What in the world, sir?
People in the comments hearing and seeing it, they'll let you know, I suppose.
Yeah, I think we're on. I just don't. I'm seeing like a human. Let me just work it out. You guys, go ahead and chat.
Notification. I just got your live notification, so we're on.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we're on. But if you guys want to go ahead and talk, and I'll try to work it out.
Okay,
Yeah, do
cool.
your thing.
Yeah.
We're talking.
What kind of subjects do you want to talk about there regarding the manosphere or MGTOW or Red Pill?
I have no idea. James, I think James was gonna lead the circus, I think.
Well, yeah, I will eventually. Probably. I don't know.
What were we talking about before? Like how movies have gone crap. It's
Well,
not really
entertainment. Entertainment in general.
I
Entertainment in
actually
general.
I thought for a while that since movies and entertainment have gone bad for a while, I think that's why the kids of today or the younger people of today they're spurging out more. They're making their own entertainment because there's nothing to entertain them. They're acting like brats.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if you had Star Wars and good good music and things like that, people would sort of be subdued and find that interesting. But there's nothing, so people are kind of entertaining themselves with each other, whether it's getting angry or whether it's jumping on Tinder. Like people are playing games with each other. So yeah, I wish there was better entertainment.
Do you view the society at large? I mean, I view it as a very dysfunctional, schizophrenic. To me, it's very dysfunctional and schizophrenic. And I was just curious if other people viewed it that way. It's like through a red pill or a MGTOW lens.
Yeah, like you just listen to every guy that sort of chimes in the comments or you chat with. They feel comfortable talking to you or being able to talk to you guys, but out in public, it's kind of like everyone walks on eggshells with what they say, what words they can use. They don't have good entertainment anymore. They're basically only allowed to exist and fit in the way they're told to. So it's like walking around as like a three-year-old with a single mum, just watching what you say and how you act and make sure you're back at home before a certain time and mind your P's and Q's and things like that. So yeah, you're not going to get very many confident leaders, inventors.
No, it certainly does speak volumes to where we're headed, in my opinion. When I look out here and I see entertainment for what it is, music, movies, in any type of media, consumable media out here, it is the bottom of the fucking barrel. I've never seen it so bad, so milled over, so redone. It's just shit.
Well, you talked about science fiction before, but before we had really, really high grade movies that were almost beyond reach, and music and stuff like that. They'd entertain us. You could be entertained by the best of the best in terms of music and movies. But then if you had that will, you could try and climb towards it and be a filmmaker or be a, start your own band and try to be good enough to be seen. But now they've lowered the bar that, the fat, insipid person, who wants to sort of fight with everyone. They're the bar. The lowest of the low is the bar, and they don't let you go any higher. So you're kind of kept low. No one's allowed to make a good movie. No one's allowed to make good music because you're going to be pulled down. It's like, oh, look at that person. They're trying to act a bit smart. They're trying to play their guitar a bit too well. So the bar is to pull everyone down, and we're all one big happy family around a campfire that is sort of stupid and doesn't have any will to sort of do or create anything or share anything or just say what they think. I mean, you can't even say what you think. You're not being rude, but you can't even say words. I was talking to Spetsnaz, and he even said that I think towards the end of his channel, he said that he noticed that words that were being flagged in his channel that limited his video were words like New Zealand.
Yep.
He couldn't say New Zealand. He couldn't say a group. He couldn't say some other obscure words. So the context of how you put the word. So say, for instance, you want to talk about an important topic like helping a guy, like you want to talk about depression. You can't say the word. So how you talk about the word doesn't matter. So it's the word gets flagged. So if people are having a hard time with depression or, 86ing themselves, I don't think that's us old guys will know what that means. That won't show up, but you have to really play verbal hopscotch to try and talk, but then you lose a lot of the audience because you want to talk naturally and just on a normal level.
That's a perfect segue into some of the subjects that I've been tackling here lately. Been talking about people encouraging self-censoring and encouraging wordplay and not saying what they really mean, but trying to dance around algorithms to keep money or to keep sub counts up. I think it's completely disingenuous and very dishonest.
Yeah. Look, on one hand, I get you're on this platform that's not yours. They're allowing you to put your video and your message on their platform, and they want to make money. But I kind of just notice it between my last video and the one before. When I play their game, I put a provocative thumbnail up, I put a pretty woman, I put a title up that's provocative, it gets a lot of views. When I put a very neutral title up, I just stick my ugly face on the thumbnail, and it's very neutral, it gets barely anything. So to even get it shown to people, to get the message out there, you have to play that kind of commercial game. You have to present yourself almost, especially with the thumbnail, like you're selling cornflakes. But if you're not trying to entertain, if you're trying to be, if the message is the most important thing, if you smother it with kind of a clownish thumbnail and a message, then it kind of it dilutes what you're trying to do. If you're trying to be helpful and serious and honest, but you have to present yourself wearing a clown costume, it's really hard for people to kind of get through that, to get what you're saying. You only get a very few amount of people, but they can't sell soap and cornflakes and ads and things like that on videos like ours, because you're talking about getting people aware. We're talking about subjects where a person's confident and self-sufficient and sees what's what and puts on glasses and they can see things clearly. They don't want that. Their ads are actually pushing you to do the opposite. Their ads want you buying 10 packets of cornflakes and 5 pairs of jeans and 3 cars. But we're essentially talking about you only need 1 car. You don't need an expensive car. You just need 1 pair of jeans. You need to see clearly. You need to get yourself healthy mentally, physically. So that's very minimal. They don't want you minimal. They want you consuming 10 times more than what you need and throwing your life and money away. So unfortunately, the platform's the biggest and you can reach the most people, but then how far do you play the game?
And that's I think the ultimate end right there for describing dysfunction. It's engineered.
Yeah, but look, it starts. It's one of those things you can't, or you also can't get stuck too much in fighting the big system, because you lose more and more kind of power that way too. Like if you're there with your boxing gloves, trying to sort of have a boxing match against the sun and the world, you're gonna lose. But you can have a boxing match against a person or a couple of people, 2 or 3 people. You might be able to do well there. But yeah, it's a losing game trying to fight the system. One person can't do it. If they try, they usually get put 10 feet under.
Well, I mean, there's a plethora of examples over the last few years about 1 or 2 people trying to do something and getting smoked, figuratively or literally.
Yeah, you can't. And the system is good enough now to recognize anyone popping their head up a little bit too high. The algorithm's so good that, before it used to take a long time and you could get big enough, but now they're deleting people who are huge.
Yeah,
let alone any one of us who sort of get a bit too big for our boots. But anyway, all you can do is, that's the other thing. You don't want to, you want to fight a noble cause, but do you want to make your life miserable and ruin yourself in the process, and at the end be left with nothing anyway? Because I know a couple of guys well-meaning in the manosphere who fought the good fight. They're essentially deleted now, and no one cares. So they feel like, yeah, I did all this, I fought the noble cause, but they're starting to see that digitally, as soon as they turn your lights out, people might remember you, but you're on your own now. So that's the danger, because in the community, if we're actually in front of each other, we try to, we got together and we protested or we did something, they could shut the doors on a place or not let us into a park, but all of us would still be standing together and we'd find something else to do, and we'd all individually and as a group, we'd still kind of be together and we could still grow. But digitally, they switch your lights off and you're on your own. No one cares anymore.
It's kind of the new thing, man. The digital gulag.
Yeah. So,
Well,
unfortunately...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. That was all I was going to say.
That's why I concentrate heavily, I think, on telling men to stop looking at the tsunami of simps out here, the tidal wave of trifling motherfuckers that will do anything in their power to tear you up, and focus on yourself. Don't look at the mountain, climb the mountain. It's just a difference of perspective, I think.
Yeah, it's the how, and I recognize that's confusing because I went through, when you read something, some of the words you said, they sound inspiring to a guy, and they go, yeah, that sounds great, but it's the how, and that's the really hard thing because no one can tell you. And so the direction you're describing is good, but imagine a guy that's lost, even me, I'll have my days where I'm feeling flat. It's how to lean yourself in that direction, because there's no map to do it. You can't magically, it's not like drinking whiskey and then you get drunk. you kind of know how to get to a place that you want to feel. But when it comes to really obscure stuff like, how do I be happier? How do I feel less stressed? How do I move on? And the answer is no idea, man. But kind of in this big direction on your own with little to no help. Good luck. I'm on your side, but good luck.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
it's
I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to do that to you again.
no,
I'm
no. It's
running
it's.
into.
I was going to say just quickly. It's kind of like we're all got a walkie-talkie, and we're told the way to save yourself is to go off in the wilderness on our own, and we've just got the walkie-talkie, and let's hope your batteries last, and good luck. So yeah, that's the way I see. Unfortunately, it is today. So anyway, go ahead, man.
That's the way it is, brother. It's interesting to me. I used to see when I first started this, and it wasn't that long ago, 5 years ago. I used to see guys that they were crushed, they were destroyed, and the ones that could make it out, they had something to hold on to, like a hobby, something like that, like a love of some type of entertainment, like they started playing guitar or something. Some flocks of guys now that have nothing beyond what they're sold viscerally with a female, the white picket fence, the 2.5 kids. Once that is gone and they wake up to the idea that that's gone and it's probably not going to happen, they have nothing in their life. They're complete blank slates. They're voids.
Yeah, because if all you've got is that space, it's like being in a bad family, bad parents, bad mother, bad father, bad sister. Like everything's just rubbish. But that's all you know. And then you wish you weren't there, and then you get your wish, and you're on the street. And it's like, yeah, I'm free now, but what the hell? Is this worse? Like at least the pain was familiar and I could manage it. Now this is like not just a different kind of pain. There's a lot of fear, insecurity. At least there was security before. I knew every day I was going to have to eat a crap sandwich with these people, but it was manageable. It was tolerable. But I don't know if I can tolerate this freedom now. I don't know if I can tolerate this direction with a blindfold on, and not knowing what's going to like. This is the thing too. If you don't have hobbies or interests, you don't have anything to fill that void in. So I say you cut out the cancer, and then you need to fill that space up. It's a void that needs to be filled up. So that's why guys might think it's a bit pointless. I know I should have hobbies, but if I'm heartbroken, I don't want to engage with my hobbies. Like if I like playing my guitar, and then I lose my kids and I'm divorced. Yeah, I'm free to play my guitar all I want, but I just don't want to touch it. That's the hard thing mentally. How can guys do that? Well, the more hobbies you have, the more things you can go to. But I suppose, from what I've seen and little bits I've experienced is, yeah, initially when you really get kicked in the stomach, you don't want to do anything. But as it gets better over time, slowly, at least what can help you get up is a couple of those things you enjoy doing. But if there's nothing to hold on to, it's like if you get kicked to the ground, when you feel like getting up, when you've caught your breath, all your hobbies and interests and what you like doing are almost like banisters that you can kind of put your arm up and grab hold of and then pull yourself up with. But if you don't have any hobbies or things, there's nothing to hold yourself up with, to pull yourself. You're almost trying to use your legs that are sort of that don't have any muscle or anything. So interests and hobbies, even if you don't feel like doing them when you've gone through that initial heartbreak or the court system or whatever it might be, if you don't have anything later on when you feel like I can like take a step out, or I do feel like going for a walk. If you don't have anything to do, you're just gonna stay in a comfortable void of nothing. You need something. Even if you don't want to do it, you need something.
I agree. 100%. You think that that type of thought it's prevailing? It's a prevailing thought amongst young people. Is a contributor to nihilism and what they call the black pill.
Yeah, it's kind of look, they're told. See, a lot of kind of masculine talk, and a lot of guys, you could see they keep repeating things like, oh, you know, the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius,
Yeah.
old school kind of, you know, old school masculinity and being tough. They're kind of road signs of. Sometimes they look a bit cartoonish, but they're more guy stuff than, you know, like you know that society's lying to you. You know that women lie to you. You know it's hard in this environment where you're told to live, and you've had enough. And people are attaching themselves quite rightly to old school guy stuff because that's about the only thing that makes sense. And then slowly they start to sort of see, they read books, they see quotes of smarter men than all of us that only lived a couple of generations ago, let alone hundreds of years ago. And they start to piece things together and say, the more I read of these old school men that were trying to figure things out, some of the questions I'm going through now, but they're doing it more eloquently. They're doing it with more internal strength. They're doing it with better words than I can muster. I mean, there's something admirable about these guys that were really smart and wrote books, and they were public thinkers like the old philosophers. They got in front of politicians, and you know, just think about how free that man is, who can think and speak, that confidently in front of so many people. Guys recognize that kind of freedom, so.
I think.
I should let someone else speak. I feel like I've been blabbing.
Well, no, please bloviate all you want, sir.
Yeah, it's always enjoyable listening to you talk.
I could listen to you all day, sir. And just like, wow, beautiful voice.
I think you've got the golden voice here, James, not me.
No, sir. No, you do. But go on. Thumper's in here. He wants to talk to you, HuMan. Hello, Thumper.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, I've been following HuMan for quite a while. Interacted with you a little bit in the text chat. Haven't seen much of HammerHand though, but I'll have to check him out some.
Yeah, he's an asshole. So don't worry.
Then he and I'll get along great because I'm a jerk.
Exactly.
Nice to meet you. One of my kind.
Yep.
Thumper
Say
is
it like it is and don't give a damn.
He's a car guy. Actually, he rebuilds cars and stuff like that. So I'm just going to play producer. You guys chat. I'll be here.
I've been red pill for quite a while. My last divorce was in 2013, and it basically left me homeless again at 44 years old. So I've been through the ringer, and you know, I want to do like you guys and help the young guys to avoid the pitfalls that I walked into and trying to not get their heads cut off like I did.
So, HuMan, have you been divorced?
No.
Smart man.
Close. I've been engaged when I was very young.
Uh-huh. How young?
but,
Like 18 or what?
Very early 20s. But that was a way of me, you've been in a relationship for so long, and then you get the pressure of, well, if we don't get married, then I'm leaving, and where is this heading? And, you know, all the typical, tightening of the noose. And, you know, you're young, and getting engaged was my way of delaying it. And I delayed it as much as I could. But then it's one of those things where you see the person when they get frustrated not getting what they want. It's like, when are we getting married? I started to kind of see, well, the anger issues come out. I started to stand up for myself because I knew I always had a sense of I'm fairly open, but I can really see a cliff that if I step over it, there's no coming back. Now, basically, it's a decision you can rarely come back from. So there are certain things that are, like, for instance, I find it hard to get a dog because of the responsibility, even though I know I'd love a dog. But it's a commitment, and it's a step that I can't go back from because I know I'll have that sense of responsibility. I can't give the dog back once I cross that line. And it's the same with getting married or wanting honestly to have children. Like if I'm not 100%, I can't do that to another person. I can take my own risks. Like I can blow as much money as of my own money on something that I personally just want to blow my money on. Like, you buy a new car, it could turn my life to shit temporarily, but I know I can recover from that. Like, I can do recoverable risks where it might make my life awful for a short time, but if realistically I know I can, if I throw $20,000 at a car that I'm not quite sure of, but I really find it attractive, and I really want to experience it. But look, worst comes to worst, I can always sell the car. I might lose a few grand, but that's no skin off my teeth kind of thing. But with a woman, it's different. It's kind of, you buy this car, you can never sell it. Whatever problems you have, forget it. And if you do, you can sell it, but the pain and the cost to you of selling a bad, of choosing the wrong car is really, really going to hurt you. And so I've always been, well, if that's the deal, I'd rather walk. I'd rather have roller skates. I'd rather do anything but buy a car. I'd really love a car, but if those are the conditions, sorry, I that's too big of a risk, and it's not a recoverable risk. If it's a balance of the scales, I'll take a risk. I'll take most risks that I find attractive where the scales aren't tipped like completely over to the other side, and they're not on my side. I want a large portion of the scales tipped to my side. So, give me 20% chances of it working out. Give me 30. Don't give me like 2% or 5%. That's stupid. It's just not, the reward's not worth it. Nothing is.
Women are not a good investment.
It's just not a good lifestyle. Even if you don't look at it as investment, because I know guys look at things, we're thing orientated, but what we live for is life, our friends, talking to people, the feeling that we don't like cars. We like the feeling that cars give us when we put our foot down. So we don't like the thing itself. So some guys can, if we start describing women as investments, it's true, it makes sense to us, but we want women because of the feeling they give us too. So if we can I found that a lot of guys are helped when you can talk about feelings in a masculine way. So you can talk about the economics and the mathematics of, these are the probability. This is the probability of getting divorced. Okay, easy. I don't get divorced, but I've got this big hole where I want to experience another human being, or I don't have friends or something. You can't just be a safe robot. You can't just have the car in the garage. You know what I mean?
Take risks, exactly. But you have to weigh that risk against what you benefit from it versus what it can cost you. And right now, marriage is like skewed so far to it's just the worst idea you can possibly do, take on versus what you get out of it. Now, you can have relationships, you can have multiple girls, you can have one girl, you can have a long-term thing, you can do short-term things. I've done all that. But signing the paper and getting the state into it, it's going to cost you everything. It cost me everything twice. So, I just paid off my land today 3 years early after rebuilding after my second divorce in 2013. It is, I had to build my house. I had to build my shop. I had to just basically bust my ass, and nobody's there to help me with anything. I'm always the guy that goes and helps them. They always come to me. Can you fix this? Can you do that? I mean, there's got to be guys like me out there that are like doesn't anybody want to lend me a hand?
Well, that's the thing. The default with most men is we
We fix stuff.
no, we only give ourselves permission. Our reflex is we only give ourselves permission to eat once everyone else is fed. You feed the kids, you feed the wife, you feed society. You feel proud of giving. Like I recognize in myself when I give, and then the scraps are left for me, and everyone else is happy. I feel good and proud. It's a good feeling. But today, everyone and everything is saying, yeah, keep doing that as a man. Thank you. And if there's no scraps left for you, we don't care. It's your responsibility. You didn't leave anything for yourself. You got no food to eat.
That's right.
They expect us to sacrifice for them.
Right.
And then they don't appreciate it because they expect it.
The question is, like, say what you just described in your life. What could you say to a younger version of you, the guy getting married for the first time or the second time? It's really what words can a guy speak from himself? Like, that's why I say always try. I found the best way to help guys is the best way I help myself, is not talk about the system or women in plural as like an idea, but make it very personal, because the personal is where everything matters for you. It's kind of nice to talk about men. I like helping guys. I like catching up with my friends. I like being, giving time and attention to my family and friends. That's great. But if you don't come first, if your decisions don't matter now, if I eat, I have to eat before my wife and kids, or at the same time. It used to be like that. The guy used to get served first, not because his wife allowed him to be served first, but because he got served food first at the table. But guys aren't doing that to themselves now. It's like, yeah, you make sure your family's taken care of and the woman's okay. But now guys are sitting at the table going, no, you guys eat first, and I'll wait here, and whatever's left over, if there's any dinner left over, I'll sit in the corner on my own. So that's what guys have got to recover. Demand that, no, I get served first, like as a philosophy. Like I get the right to speak, and being interested enough to sort of know what to say, because that's you caring enough to defend yourself. Because if you don't care enough to defend yourself, be righteous, speak more maturely than all these children out there, if you don't do that for yourself, then, I mean, you need to care that much. You really, really do, because no one else does. Like you said, no one else does. So
exactly,
if you kind of realize it's up to you. It is. It's really up to you.
If I don't give a damn about myself, nobody else does. So I have to make sure that I have everything done. I have to put in the effort. If I need to do something that I don't know how to do, I have to learn how to do it. Because nobody's going to come do it for me. And that's just the life that men have. We don't want to rely on somebody else for everything.
SCE
ahead,
is in
Seth.
here, HuMan. Hello, sir.
What's up,
Yes,
SCE? How you doing?
I'm good,
Hello.
Hammer. How you doing?
Chilling, brother, chilling.
Okay, you and I have spoken several times, but I don't believe that I've ever spoken with HuMan before. What I would like to know is, gentlemen, what plans do you have for your channels? Just curiosity asking, that's all.
HuMan just needs to look cute.
Yeah,
Look
I just
cute and bring that accent.
Yeah, it's funny to me whenever anyone likes my accent, because a couple of the guys I talk to, they're on the fence. Some people really don't like the Australian accent. And funnily enough, I used to, when I was younger, the American accent wasn't my favorite. But when I became more and more interested in reading and pronouncing words properly, the American accent is one of my favorites, because you guys pronounce the words in every letter properly. Whereas Australians and English, we can kind of slur, and you can't kind of tell where we say the R's and the T's and the S's. So you guys probably speak English on the whole right from the poorest to the richest, your language is really clear. Whereas you look at England, the birthplace of the language, yeah, you've got your aristocracy. They probably talk really well, but then you've got your sort of the working class. It's like it's just cringeworthy. If there's one type of woman on the planet, no offense, that I would never date just solely because of the accent is like some bimbo or trailer trash from England, simply because of
like the Cockney.
yeah,
stuff
the
that was in
Cockney
My Fair
ghetto
Lady.
type.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shut up.
Yeah, but they might have some fun with you though, bro. I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing
That's
what
a
you
good
put up
question
with.
there that SCE asked. What do you tend to do with your channel? I intend to boil my channel down to the very basics. Stop with all of the fucking fluff. I don't do much of that anyways. But not too long before I jumped on here, I'm really tired of watching people explode at the expense of the red pill and MGTOW, and then fucking crawfish and start throwing our guys under the bus. That's becoming an issue with me.
Yeah,
I've noticed.
a lot of people, I think, are you without knowing it. Say, for instance, they didn't like their life with women or whatever, like they had a life where they wanted to be free. Then all of a sudden they're free of it. Then they're hanging out with these guys online in the community. They might not might not be doing it intentionally, but that's the danger of focusing on the group or other people. You don't have any responsibility. Like you don't see yourself as being responsible. So you can have fun and throw guys under the bus and play politics, but that's why I advocate making it very personal, making it about you and what you think. So then you've got to risk yourself. You got to risk taking some blows. But the more anonymous that you can hide and just be a troll and treat the community like, because I see most guys who get angry and don't treat each other properly. They treat MGTOW, the manosphere, ceremonially. It's a ceremony for them. It's not real. It's fun. It's an experience. So it's very ceremonial. But for me, this stuff isn't ceremonial. It's a philosophy that when I go out there and talk to people, it makes me know how to think and respond to these situations that I don't like or do like, and how I talk to people. So it's not I go online and have a MGTOW video game and then switch that game off, and then I go into my everyday life and I act the same as I did from years and years past. So that's not the point. If it matters, that you use it to change how you think and act. But most guys don't really. They say it. There's a lot of lip service, and it doesn't mean you need to be angry. It's like, if it means something, like, act like it does, talk like it does, change your life like it does.
Talk the talk, not just walk the walk.
Yeah.
What I find with the guys doing this now, I don't want to name names and kick dirt, buddy. No, they know who they are. Is that they're dropping red pills out of this side of their mouth, but they're supporting usury and gynocentrism over here. Oftentimes in the same fucking sentence. And I don't understand why people don't catch this, or why they're not more aware of it.
But it's also, like, this is the tricky thing too. When it starts to, I suppose most of us guys can recognize when there's a guy that's going his way and doing his own thing how he wants, and he's not really trolling anyone, but he just wants to be left alone, but he's a respectful kind of guy. That's different to a guy who's trying to poison and fight and debate with everyone, and then switch his computer off and he doesn't care what happens to other men in the community, right? There's a difference between those two things. But for instance, like, I haven't used the acronym MGTOW for a while because I got tired of all I kept doing was just defending what I thought it was for me, how I was going, right? I wanted to just talk every day to guys about certain topics that might kind of help them twist their dials and make parts of their lives better. That's it. I don't care about the politics. I really don't, because the politics never helped me. They helped me stay stuck with a whole bunch of other guys who it was a good community, but then you're stuck, and then all of a sudden all these other guys come in that are trolls and they kind of pile on. It's like, I can't breathe in this environment. Like I can't find anyone to talk to about just everyday life issues. So yeah, there are guys that play that game, but I don't know about you guys, but I can't control how another guy speaks or what he does with his channel, if he wants to be a troll. I don't know. That's why I kind of, when people want to start arguing about the politics of what acronyms mean and stuff, it's like, fine, argue about it. Like, I can talk about what going your own way is with a guy whose his life might be completely different, but he's respectful of me and I'm respectful of him, and we're not trying to pull each other down. I can talk to any guy like that, whatever your acronym is. Hell, I can even talk to a feminist who's stuck in her way, but she's mature enough to live and let live. But with these guys, it's like, I can't talk to you unless I fight you. Someone has to win. I can't talk to people like that.
They're more combative than trying to be beneficial. And they get mired in the nomenclature and politics of it rather than the actual living, essentially.
HuMan, is there any chance that you could do a live stream with Sydney Migtel?
I think Sydney wanted to do one a while ago, but it's just kind of scheduling and things like that. So I think in the future, we'll probably do a chat. It'll be up on his channel, I think. But yeah, I think it's kind of been talked about and planned. So it's just scheduling things and time, that's all. So like I said, I don't mind talking to whoever. I don't care. I mean, not to be, pardon the pun, but like the reason I called my channel HuMan is, yeah, it's got the man aspect. I want to talk about it specifically from a male point of view. I don't want to sugarcoat and say, oh, well, this happens to everyone, not just men and women. It's like, everyone talks about women. I don't care about them because the whole world talks about them. It's like, so at the moment I talk about a very male specific point of view that, yeah, okay, we understand these issues happen to everyone, but particularly from a guy's point of view, this is how it differs, and this is the challenges I have. And so when a woman says like, yeah, but it's not just men, it's like, I don't care. Like the whole world talks about and encourages you and understands you. Like you've got 99.9% of the media listening to and sympathizing with you. This is just about my point of view as a guy. Like, you want to listen from a guy's point of view and maybe acknowledge that, you know, I'm a human being too that happens to be a man. Or if you just want to make it all about women again, it's like, oh, us too. It's like, no, this is a smoker's lounge for guys. You can listen, you can talk if you're civil. But yeah, for me, it's personal. It's got to be personal because I went through the 90s, you know, as an anti-feminist. I learnt a lot about women and stuff, which is great. But man, at some point, it's got to be about you. It's just got to be about you. You got to make it about you. Because your life, again, you could be sacrificial. What's the difference between, I'm going to give to my family and kids and I'm not going to ask for anything, and look, as a guy, look, I don't need anything. And then society and women discard you. And you do the same thing in the community too. Oh, well, it's going to be about the big fight against the government, and this, like, again, you don't exist either. At some point, you gotta feed yourself first, and then whatever's left over, then fight whatever big fight you want to.
Okay. On that note, I would like to say that this is something that Ken Del Rican has spoken about many, many times. He's here in the chat, and we've spoken several times as well. And the thing of it is that he is not interested in anything that the women's have to say. He's more interested in what affects guys, what we look for, what we want, because he's looking to try to work on whatever type of content is appealing to gentlemen. So that's what he's looking at. He would be the first to agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Look, everyone's, again, I'm not telling anyone what to do, but my channel, say the previous question that HammerHand answered, in relation to what I'm trying to do with my channel is, I'm trying to. Mine's basically a video diary of me working crap out, and it always has, because that's what I found helps me. And then from that, if I'm having a conversation with other guys, and then they can help have a dialogue with me. Like, I've always found what resonated with me was when I needed that kind of help from men, like support, words, wisdom, was whether I read it in books from guys who have been through that, or I heard it in podcasts or video, YouTube videos, is that one-on-one, almost hanging out with a guy like this, chatting at a bar where human beings are talking. That's what helps me. That's what kind of connects, where someone tells you a story and then it's personal. It's like, oh, that happened to me. But if you can't touch it, if you can't have that one-on-one kind of feeling, if you can't make it personal, there's more of a distance for you to sort of see how you can change things in your life. So if it's always about feminists, it's very hard to kind of make that relatable to the personal, because it's a concept that's out there. It's not a woman in front of you, it's all women, which one, it's too big to handle. You can't look, it's barely, most of the time it's hard to handle one woman because she's playing musical chairs. Like, you can't. So what chance have you got against billions of moving musical chairs? It's like, forget it. Sensibly, as a guy, your position of strength, and from whatever's left over, what you decide to use of your energy and your time and your money and your whatever, use the excess, but keep the essential stuff for you. Don't associate with morons, male, female, people wanting to pull you down. Have good family friends around you. Yeah, don't let any crap. Don't let any crap in your life if you can help it.
Hammer looks like he wants to say something.
No. I'm just sitting here. Everybody's just kind of quiet. I'm just sitting here listening. I would ask. This is for everybody on the panel.
Yes, sir.
HuMan, if you want to take it and start first. If you could recommend three individuals on any one of these social medias, or three groups of whatever, to listen to give men some type of idea about being a man. So many men out here today don't know what that means. It's being hidden. It's being suppressed. If you could recommend three people, three individuals, entities, what would you recommend?
How to speak as a man, just how to convey yourself, whatever you might think about his what he believes. And again, the people I'm going to describe, I'm not a follower. I'm not an acolyte. You know, I can appreciate where there's excellence or something useful. So that's the point of I want to sort of say first off. Sure. The way you talk and the confidence and self-belief of someone like Stefan Molyneux, how he speaks as a guy and how much self-belief he has, whether or not you think he's full of it or you don't agree with him, whatever. People know I respected Paul Proteus by, again, his just everything about him as a guy. Third, it's like I could put like 5 people in third place for the same thing. But that's probably more personal. People I feel like they're my kind of people. So objectively, I don't know. I don't know what I'd put in first, but just basically, I suppose Paul Proteus and Stefan Molyneux to me would be more individual guys when you look at it. They're guys that I can hold up. There's parts of them that I could see. That's where the light is. That's where freedom is. That's where strength. That's where a way out is. There's something about them, how they speak, how they think, how they live. Some sort of vibe about them. Like there's something there. Find out what it is. So you've got a lot of people who might have massive channels. They might even have TV shows. It's all presentation and gloss, but it's a cardboard cutout. There's no human being there for me to kind of be mentored by. So someone who's like a mentor, I think is the most beneficial.
Agreed. James? Hamster not here? Damn it.
Well, it's my
Everybody
channel,
was.
so I'm here. I'm just listening to you guys. Come on.
What would you recommend there, sir? Who would you recommend for men to listen to?
Not you, though.
Not necessarily follow, but listen. Just kind of absorb some of the things that they say. No, don't recommend me. That's you're going to kill them all.
I would say that. Oh my God, HuMan, are you drinking a Rolling Rock? Jesus.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys probably are going to have less respect for me now, but I don't drink alcohol.
Hey, welcome to the party. Neither do
I
I.
had to quit too.
I never even started.
Getting old.
I'm a control freak, I think. I think that's what's helped me with women. I just naturally have this control freak nature where if I can't control the outcome completely, if there's no wiggle room, I mentioned about jumping off a cliff, I've got no control. I need to have at least one hand on the steering wheel. Whatever the situation is, like I've always come to the line. I've made a lot of mistakes with women, but the hard line was like scared shitless fear of if I do this or if I say yes to what she wants, there's no coming back. My life is changed. It's over. So I think it's also with my health too, drinking, things like that, because part of me is like, I know I can get obsessive and addicted, and I don't want to, dive out of the plane without a parachute, because I know I will if I get a taste of it.
You got that kind of personality?
Yeah, I'm a very, very obsessive driven person, but I also know from growing up that I've skinned my knee once or twice as a kid in good ways, like jumping out of trees, and really it sort of hammering a lesson home before you even knew what it was. But it's like, yeah, I'm not doing things like that where I'm one step close to death. So I've always had that. So maybe naturally, that's why I don't want to pretend that it's easy as swallowing a red pill or just not doing this, because everyone's different. Because I know my control freak nature made it easy for me to discipline myself, whether it's there's very hard lines with women. Like, it might be yes, 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 hormones, you can lead me around as a woman and it feels great. But then there's a certain line I said, I will never go through that door. And when it gets to that door, I just never do. It's locked. It's not just closed and I can open it. It's got a padlock on it not because I put it on there, but it just always is. It's always had a padlock on it. Because I'm just scared shitless. I don't have any control after it. And that's just my personality. So I recognize I might be lucky in that way, whereas other guys aren't. They're not built that way. So it's kept me out of stepping on a few landmines that a lot of other guys would have maybe.
I grew up in a world where I didn't have any control. It was a really rough life. So I'm more laid back. I kind of like wait and see what everybody else is doing and see if it's going to affect me. And then I make my own choice and I go my own path and I do my own thing. I can learn from somebody else, but I'm going to learn from their mistakes and their successes, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, Thumper,
So,
you were in the war though, right?
Well, yeah. Well, even before the war, man. If I told you about my childhood, you'd be like, how is this guy still alive?
No, go ahead. Talk about it. I'll tell you about mine if you want to not sleep well tonight.
How about if I go back to hammers before we get into that? Interesting thing. I follow Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, Lotus Eaters.
Yeah.
He had a guy that lives in New Zealand or Australia. He's down under somewhere. Who named Shad, and they were talking about masculinity in a video they did earlier this week. And I'm sitting there listening, and I don't see either one of those guys as being, a masculine male, overtly. But yet, what they were talking about was spot on. So if you can find that conversation, that is a very good conversation if you want to know more about masculinity. Otherwise, like HuMan said, I'm a big fan of, now I can't even think of his name, Stefan Molyneux.
Mm.
He's more into philosophy than I am. I'm more nuts and bolts. I'm mechanical minded, so I've been a machinist, mechanic. I build things, I do things. It's all mathematical and numbers for me. So everything, even when it comes to females, I sat and I watched them and I read their body language, and then I made a matrix in my head of, okay, when she does this, it means that. It took some refinement over the last 30 years or 40 years, but I figured it out. So I'd go with Stefan, both of you guys, James a bit. The big thing that I've noticed with the manosphere is a lot of people are complaining. Getting back to what Success Pool said. They're complaining and pointing out this is what to watch out for, but we don't have a lot of solutions. We don't have, when this arises, then you do this. Or if you want to be a masculine male, this is how you go about it. It's all basically reaction to what the world does to us rather than a proactive vision of what we need to make the world for ourselves.
I think that we do have solutions. You do have.
Well, I'm not saying we don't. It's just a general tendency.
If you're looking at the world of Red Pill and you're looking at the world of MGTOW or even Monk, we have solutions. If you can abide by the philosophy that is laid down, that it didn't just spring up out of the ether. It was well thought out. It was put out there. Granted, it was put out there by some guys that had girlfriends and got married down the road, but
yeah, like Roche.
It applies. Yeah, well, not exactly him, but.
Well, he's not exactly MGTOW. I'm not MGTOW either.
No, he's not. And you don't have to be involved in this particular conversation.
I mean, I live a lot like a MGTOW, but I'm technically not MGTOW.
Well, that's cool, brother. Yeah, it's not a requisite.
Well, yeah. It's the way I've always kind of lived my life. I always did my thing. If you talk to my first ex-wife, she'll tell you, yeah, it doesn't matter what I said. He just did he did whatever the hell he wanted. And it's kind of funny how she reacted to it.
Could we,
it just
guys?
Kind of depends.
Excuse me. Can we hear from HuMan? What's his thoughts?
Oh, I've been talking enough. I'm enjoying listening to these guys for once instead of my own voice.
Am I getting in trouble?
Okay.
James?
No, there's no trouble here. Just go on.
I would ask any one of you can take this. What are your general impressions and thoughts on the health of the manosphere today, as it is?
I think we've turned a corner. Because,
what corner?
Well, when I first started getting involved online back in 2013 with manosphere stuff, Red Pill, I was already minded that way, but I'd always kind of, when I got in a relationship, I'd start going more blue pill because I thought that's what you had to do to keep a woman, not realizing that the way I was what is attracting them. So trying to make myself something I'm not. Then we had all the political stuff where, the government was saying Title IX, this, that, and the other, all the things Obama did, which I'm not going to get into because it's just a nightmare of legal crap. And I was going through divorce in his era. I used to get all these guys saying all these blue pill things to us. Like, well, you got to sacrifice for the girl. You got to do this. You got to do that. Happy wife, happy life. Now, when I'm out in public and people that aren't really red pill like us, they're saying the same things. The message is getting out there, and men are starting to wake up, and they're realizing this is a bum deal. It's starting to build some momentum. A couple of years ago, I called Donovan Sharp on his call-in line, And I said, the worm's turning, man. And he's like, no, it isn't. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And the more you look at it from a perspective that's kind of removed from it, if you can pull yourself out and look at the big picture, you'll see that it's starting to turn. But you have to interact with people that you don't normally, and talk to them about different things. And
Agreed.
You'll get to see that men are starting to wake up and they're going the red direction. They're realizing the wool's been pulled over their eyes. They're seeing what's happening to us old guys that have been divorced and living in our car like Pop and me. And they're realizing this isn't something that I want to engage in. And they can articulate it. So you guys are been doing this for a while. I just do car stuff mainly. But I comment on videos more than I make videos because I'm kind of new to the whole video thing, and formulating my thoughts when I'm speaking is harder than when I'm writing. Go figure. So you guys have been doing a great job getting the message out there and tell them, watch out for this, be aware of that, don't do this, basically don't be Thumper and go get married twice because you think the second one's different when they're all pretty much the same.
Let me ask you about that. Did you feel like you had any awareness, a difference of awareness between the first divorce and getting into a relationship with another woman, or were you just trying to fill up an empty spot? Is it just what you thought you had to do, or were you chasing something?
I had a massive education with the first one. I was 25 when I met her. I was drunk the night that I met her. It was my birthday. I went around to all the bars and got the free drinks. So I was trashed. My buddy was driving. And ended up hooking up with her the next day. And I'd just gotten out of the military the first time. I was then in a new town, going to college, doing the whole thing. So I was kind of, feeling a little bit lonely. And I was like, well, let's hook something up. Well, turns out she hid all of her bipolar tendencies from me until she got knocked up. And then I was kind of stuck with her. Because, once you have a kid with somebody, that person is part of your life, forever.
Absolutely.
The rest of your life. Because, kids are the most important thing that we can actually ever engage in.
They're certainly up there.
So living with her now, I'm a big guy. I can pick people up and throw them. I loaded cargo planes in the military. I pushed heavy stuff. I lifted heavy boxes. When I was 21, I was able to pick up 200 pounds of stuff and run it up 3 flights of steps, and do that, a couple of 100 times every night. Just I'm massive. So having a 120-pound girl attack me and try to, rip my clothes, tear my shirt, scratching me, hitting me with stuff, trying to pull hair out, which, I shaved my head to keep her from being able to grab onto it, and had to keep my beard short because, man, she'd grab anything. And I was always concerned about going to sleep because I didn't know what she was going to do when she'd have one of her little manic or depressive episodes. If you did anything nice for her, she'd start a fight because she felt guilty, and then she'd lose the fight because, she wasn't real bright. So arguments she'd lose, and then if she got violent, I could restrain her without actually, hurting her or leaving any marks. Because, I wrestled in high school and I had a bunch of training in the military. So controlling her was not an option. It was more defending myself and trying to stay out of the situations she kept putting me in. So it was 8 years of absolute nightmare.
Yeah. That 8 years kind of crops up a lot, man. I had 2 of them that were 8 years apiece, and it just fucking nightmare. Both of them.
Yep. Now, I learned from the first one. Now, the second one, the first one, she was kind of like the town bicycle, and I found that out after. It was like, oh, that's why it was so easy the first night. Okay. The second one, I met through a friend, and she lived in a remote part of the world where I live now because I came up here when I got out of the military again. and she was completely different. The only thing that they had in common was they were white females. The first one come from a broken home. The second one came from a relatively well-off family that stayed together, and he had all daughters. I got along with her dad great, you know, until she blew it all apart. But she was completely different. 21-year-old virgin when I met her. Going to college, she had her head on straight. She was submissive but not subservient. Really intelligent, able to keep up when I talked about anything from mechanical engineering stuff to astrophysics to, you know, science, biology, whatever. She was able to keep up. She graduated magna cum laude, so, you know, from the local university. Really smart chick, and completely different. When I get home from working on the base, you know, she'd take my boots off for me, and she would like make sure that I had whatever I needed. So 8 years, and I was the only one that, you know, had been there. She treated me great. We got along great, never had an argument, never fought, you know. But, you know, we converse, and it's like, well, I want to do this. What do you have planned? You know, it was kind of more of a partnership with me kind of leading, because, you know, I'm the one making the money, and I'm the one basically deciding where we're going with everything.
So why did it end?
I got sick. There's
That fucking story.
Yeah, there's a chemical called isocyanates. It's in paint and insulation, you know, the foam insulation, the spray foam, all that stuff. I was painting some car parts for her dad, and I used the mask twice, right? You're only supposed to use them once. I didn't realize that it was going to cause me a problem by using it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the filters were saturated with the stuff, and it got into my lungs. And it made it feel like there was cargo straps wrapped around my chest and tightening. So I could get oxygen in, but it hurt to breathe. So walking 10 feet would leave me out of breath and panting.
Yep.
So big muscle-bound combat vet me must have looked really pathetic for her to decide, well, I'm going to go for this other guy. And I could tell you all about him, but let's just say that she chose poorly.
I think that that's a very normal thing. The mother of my kids was the exact same way. The week that I got sick, you could feel the change. She was completely 100% not just turned off, but checked the fuck out.
Yep.
I felt it. She knew that it was happening. I had a gallbladder removal, and I was down for about 14 days, you know, all told. Not sitting in a hospital or a bed or anything, just to get it healed up enough just to go back to work. Now, you got 8 holes in your abdomen and an 8-inch gash under your solar plexus, and you're going back to fucking work, right? So that was it. That was all it took for her to check out, and she was gone a couple years later.
Now, well, this one, I vetted her, you know, like everybody says. I vetted her for 7 years. We got married just after 8 years. 16 months later, about 5 months short of 10 years together, she blew everything up, and we were divorced 16 months after we got married.
It's unreal.
Yeah. And I lost a house in both of them. I lost over $250,000 in child support to the first one. The state raked me over the coals, hit me with 71% of my gross while I was active duty. So I was living in my car on base during a war. You know,
that's enough to make anybody blow their fucking brains out, and it happens a lot.
Oh, I came so close, man. And going back to what you guys were saying right before I came on, do you know what kept me from self-deleting?
Kids.
Nope, it wasn't the kids, because the first one took the kids away, and I got to see them 12 days out of the first 7 years after the divorce. Because the state kept me so broke that I couldn't travel the 1,500 miles from where I was stationed back to my home state. where she took off with him too. You know, when you got $100 a month to live on, you're not traveling 1,500 miles. So
Of course not.
And if I got a second job, then I hit the wrong button there. You know,
That's
they would
all right.
up it whenever you started earning more money, and they don't ever bring it back down unless she agrees to it.
That's why I told them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. Well, I tried that, but then they absolutely destroyed my credit, and they made my life absolute hell.
Well, it's not hard to get out of that if you have the ways, the means, and the utensils. But these things weren't available back then. Not for the average guy.
Well, I got kind of screwed around with the lawyers too, but
Oh,
that's
well, they work for the law.
another story. No, this was a military thing. I had problems with supervisors named Willie. Yeah, just seven of
What
or six
stopped
of
you?
them.
What stopped?
To be completely honest, it's the thing that James noticed about me right off. It's the cars. I'm into old cars. I like to build them. I like to race them. I like to go drive them. And like HuMan said, it's not the car itself, it's what I do with the car. You know, I take a rusty heap of shit and I turn it into something that I can hop in and drive, 1,000 miles without a problem.
That kind of brings us back around to where we started that conversation, though, right?
Yeah.
Is that if you're not a complete blank void that is just depending on validation and emotional saturation from your culture is telling you that this is what you have to have. That
Yeah.
It is completely inaccurate. It's a complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. If you've got something to hold on to, I don't think that you're going to go and check out. I really don't. But a lot of guys have nothing beyond that immediate need.
It has to be enough that you are like, if I go through with this, because man, I had that thought going through my head every day for 40, 44, 45 years, every day, multiple times a day. And I just lived with it. That's through 2 wars, 2 divorces, all the crap in between.
Yes. I think that that's a very inspirational thing, to be honest. I think that can provide a lot of hope for men out here that think that they have nothing, that think that there's no way out. And there is, man. You just have to get beyond the day. Got to stack a few of those days, and that pain starts to lessen. I'm not talking about getting numb. I'm not talking about drugging up or drinking up or anything like that. I'm talking about getting perspective. Once you get out from under that crushing pain, then you can get perspective on the situation.
Right. You have to have something to look forward to. You have to have a goal.
Agreed.
The way that I liken it is, I live in a forest up here. Okay. I grew up in Nebraska where there's no trees, a few hills. Well, there's a few trees, but not a lot. Up here, it's all trees. I got 20 miles of trees between me and town. Now, if I wanted to walk to town and not go down the highway, I'd have to walk through the forest. That means going, you have a general direction that you're heading in. So you have to go left or right around the trees that are in your path. Sometimes you come across a stream or a big pile of boulders, and you have to go around that. Sometimes you have to go all the way back to find somewhere to cross. So you make this big deviation, but you're still heading towards your goal. It's just you might have to make a detour here or there, and it's not a straight path. You have to find your way through the forest.
I think you just hit on something there. There is not necessarily no one right way. There is no end all be all from here to there, A to B. Every man is going to travel his path, and there's nothing saying that yours is going to be mine and mine's going to be yours or HuMan's or anybody else's. That's the hard part, is figuring out what makes that happen.
Exactly. Do you guys actually picture a destination? Like when you think of your path, do you think a lot of guys are confused? Like, I don't know where I'm supposed to get to, because I've never personally, whenever I think about it, I've never thought about where I want to get to. It's like I've always thought about how I want to live now. Like, I don't really care. Like, sensibly I do. You know, I'm not going to spend all my money tomorrow and not be able to, you know, pay my rent and eat food the next day. But I've never cared that much about where I'm going to be in 10 or 20 years. I've always cared about, like, I want my life to be good now. And any decision I make is like, no, my life's still got to be good now.
The way that I look at it, sorry to interrupt you, but the way that I look at it is I have things that I want to do, places I want to go, people I want to meet. So I take care of today. You know, I make sure that I have a roof over my head when I can afford it, of course. I make sure that I have everything I need to be able to live and survive. But I'm always working towards where I want to be. I put a plan out there, and I'm real flexible with my plan because things come up. I have cars that I've owned for 35 years that I haven't driven in 35 years or 33 years. So I want to get to that car eventually, but there's other things that I have to do before I can get back to building on that car. I tend to put everything into an automotive sort of mindset because that's what I do. I can put it into other things too. But I have a plan of what I want. It's kind of like a general idea. And I can modify the plan, I can change it, or I can completely scrap it, wad it up, throw it away, and then start with a new plan for like the same vehicle or whatever I'm doing. But you,
I think
like
that's
you said,
probably the key.
You have to do what you need to do to be able to achieve your plan and achieve your goal. So you have to live for today, but you think ahead.
Yeah, that's the difference. If you can do that on your own, like you can scrap a car project if you want to, but a woman, she's going to not allow you to scrap that. You're in control if you want to start and stop any project, any goal, put it on the shelf, come back to it later when you've got time. But that's the thing. If the way you operate with women is like you got your hands off the steering wheel, but in every other part of your life, and that was something that was one of the light bulb moments many years ago, was where someone, a member of my family, because they've known me all my life, they kind of said, you know what, with everything else in your life, you can do that. You're confident, you say no, you say yes, but when it comes to women, you just flick a switch and you're a different person. It's almost like all your values, like in every other part of your life, you just take your hands off the steering wheel and you let someone else do it because that's the way you think it needs to operate. And that was a nice piece to help me try and deal with women the same way I deal with everything else in my life that I put my hands on, that I care about, that I want to be good in my life. So yeah, it's I know it's harder because if you get married and things, there are things out of your control, like you can't control it. But that's why I talked about there's hard limits of where you won't go beyond, because you want to have as much control in your life as possible. So it's about and I get the car analogy. I wasn't a car guy until this year anyway. So even last night I got together with a buddy, and I really realized it's not the car that's important, it's what the car lets you do. Because before that, we never used to call each other and just catch up and go for a drive down to the beach and chat. And the car helps you do that. Or a car is, you get on a motorcycle and you feel free. So what the car actually gives you is a really cool thing. So it's, again, back to what have you got in your life, people or things that help you feel alive. And as soon as you feel a woman or a job or anything make you feel sort of burying you and making you one step closer to the grave, mate, lean the other direction.
Yeah, pull the cord, get out of there.
Hit pause, at least hit pause. Stop it. Even if you don't want to get out, you want time to think. That's a good indication. You tell women when they're pressuring you to make a decision, try either saying no or let me think about it, I'll get back to you. They don't want to. And that should actually tell you, oh, okay, so this is all about you. It's your way the amount of foot on the accelerator you want to have, I have no control. And for me, again, it scares me. It's like I have no control over this. I don't like this. I'm starting to really not like my life with you. I have to have control. If I don't have control, I'm not happy.
The control thing is kind of different for me. Probably because, well, like I said earlier, it's how I grew up. I didn't have any, so I was like a cork bobbing around in the waves. But I'm okay with not having control over other people. I can control myself. I can control my car. I can control my life. I can control my finances. I can control my house. So what you do, it might concern me, but I can either keep you away or bring you closer depending on what you're doing. If you're going to benefit me in some way, I'll keep you in my life. If you're going to be detrimental to me, I'll cut you out and you'll never hear from me again. You know? So I'm not that big of a control freak, although I can control my life very, very effectively. And that's all I can control is my life. I can't control anybody else. And I accept that and I just live with it.
Gents, I'm going to have to bust out of here for just a few minutes. If you guys are still going to go, I'm going to just get inside, get comfortable real quick, and then hook this up to a charger.
Cool.
Works for me. Good
All
talking
right, I'll
to you,
be back in a few. Good talking to you too, Thumper. I'll be back in just a few.
Okay. I wanted to ask James something. How does he have the patience to do response videos to some of these very young bimbos? Because I don't know if I would.
That last one, I was just like, James, you're some kind of either saint or you're like...
well, maybe it's just a reason to drink. He wants to drink, and so this is a way to...
It's hard, guys. Really, it's hard. And yes, drinking is good.
Ever since 2014, I haven't been able to drink as much as I used to. I have one shot, and it makes me feel like complete crap immediately. And then I hurt for like the next 3 or 4 days. And it used to be that I could, like, you know, drink not to the point of getting drunk, and I'd never be hungover or anything. Just like 1 or 2 a day, and I'm good. And now I just had to cut it out. It hurts the next day, even when I have 1 beer or 1 mixed drink, just one. Not even enough to get a buzz. I don't know if it's my meds or just getting old. So I avoid the feminist videos except for when James puts them up.
James is entertaining.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I love the guy. No homo.
What? I thought you were a homo, dude.
You got a birdie butt there. The look on HuMan's face right now is hilarious.
It's like, look at this guy. He's like, oh my God.
He's like, what the hell was that?
Why did I get in here? Okay, guys, I got to wrap it up. I got to go to bed. So it was wonderful to see you all. Really.
Thanks for having me.
Wow.
Thanks for letting me join in.
Thank you for coming by. All right.
HuMan, would you like to talk sometime about more of this kind of stuff?
Yeah, cool. Again, it's just like I have no problem talking to any guy. It's just kind of time and like, unfortunately, I'm on the opposite end of the time spectrum, so it's hard for everyone. Like, either I've got to get up early or people have got to stay up late. So,
well, I've got a little bit of leeway because I'm at 5,600 straight days of Saturday.
okay. So, yeah, cool, man. Whenever we've got time.
If you want, just have James send me a link and I'll get with you.
All right, cool, man.
Sounds good,
I
guys.
think it'd
Thank
be
you.
fun to talk a bit.
Yeah, I would. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
See you later.